Hi everybody, welcome to 5 Minute Ministries. Today we're talking about the third commandment, do not take the Lord's name in vain. Now what do we mean by vain? Because when we think of vain these days, we think of someone who is stuck on the way they look. But we're not talking about that vain. Vain actually has a different meaning. Vain means useless, unnecessary, pointlessly, needlessly. And that's what we're talking about. Do not use the Lord's name needlessly, uselessly, or pointlessly. See, God's name has a purpose, and everything God does has a purpose. But before we get into how we take God's name in vain, let's talk about how we are supposed to use God's name. And I'm going to keep it very simple. The only time we use God's name, or any of His names, is when we're talking about or to Him. Those are the only way to use God's name properly. Well, some of the ways we don't use His name properly, and it's become, at least in America, very, very common to say these phrases, and probably some more that I'm not going to cover. And I am going to say the phrases, so don't get offended. I'm just telling you what we say as, at least Americans, probably some other countries too, but especially in America, because that's where I live and that's where I hear them. We use phrases like, oh my God, or oh God, or oh Lord, or we use these phrases in connection with annoyance or surprise or when we're horrified at something, and sometimes even in anger. And you'll hear people say, Jesus Christ! Now, all of those are taking the Lord's name in vain because they're all His names. When we talk about God, I've even heard atheists say, oh my God, and I wonder, to what God are you referring, because you don't believe in any of them. You say, oh my God, and we here in America associate God with the God of the Bible. It's the way we operate. Now you may ask, am I counting OMG? Oh yes I am, because it's an acronym for oh my God. And I'd have to ask, are you talking to Him? Are you talking about Him? Most certainly you are not. And we have all said this phrase either in the past or maybe we will, because it's a force of habit for us in America to do so. Another way we take God's name in vain is when we say, God damn it. Now, I don't really know if people really understand what they are asking for when they say, God damn it. Are they asking God to actually damn someone? Do they understand what damning means? Most likely they don't. It's another phrase that just gets thrown around because we're so used to saying it. Hopefully you're not saying it. And this is the phrase that burns me the most. People will apologize for other curse words in front of me for using them, but they'll never apologize for saying God damn it for some reason, even though it's actually the most offensive curse phrase you can say, because asking for God's damnation is a serious thing. Another way we take God's name in vain is when we say swear to God. Now, a lot of people say this usually to really get someone to believe what they're saying, because most of the time the people who use this are people who normally stretch or don't tell the truth at all. They flat out lie. And when they really want someone to believe them, they go, swear to God. But you don't really mean it to have anything to do with God. You're just trying to get someone to believe you. It has nothing to do with God at all. Swearing to God was a big, big deal, especially in the Old Testament. When you swore to God, you took an oath before God that you would do something or accomplish something, or what you said was officially true, and you will invoke God's name. But we don't use it that way these days. And I know that because I've heard even atheists say these words, swear to God, even though they're not swearing to anybody, they're just trying to say, oh, trust me. And we know that's a suspect phrase too. Now, one curious thing, no one takes the name of any other God in vain. You won't hear someone say, oh, Buddha. You won't hear that. You'll definitely not hear anyone say anything about Allah. They will not take His name in vain. Other religions have respect for the God they claim to believe and they claim exists. We as Christians, unfortunately, sometimes don't. We're so used to saying it. We need to untrain ourselves to not use God's name pointlessly, because God has a purpose for everything He does, and He wants us also to have a purpose when we use His name. So, aren't you taking this too far? Don't you think this is silly and ridiculous? Oh, really? Do you want someone using your name needlessly? Someone, oh, Tom, oh, Stephen, oh, Sally. Does it make any sense? Of course it doesn't make any sense. So why would we do it with the name that is above all names? I want you to think about it that way. If you are using God's name needlessly at any point in your life, you need to catch yourself before you do it, because God takes His name very seriously. It is above all other names. We talked about God being holy. That's exactly what we're talking about. His name is unlike any other name, because He is the being. He is the one who created us, and we should be respectful of His name. Well, next time we are going to go into the last two commandments, or at least number 2 commandment, and you'll find out what that is next time, and I'll see you then.